our magic cue from the Zoom voice above, letting us know we are being recorded, and we are, of course, streaming live on YouTube. Well, good afternoon to everyone who is joining us on behalf of Adams County, the staff at Colorado Air and Spaceport, and our partners from Dawn Aerospace. We want to thank you for joining us this afternoon here in Colorado, and of course, mid-morning on Wednesday for our friends in New Zealand. My name is Jim Seidlecke. I'm a deputy county manager here in Adams County. I work directly with Dave Ruppel at Colorado Air and Spaceport. In just a moment, we're going to introduce County Manager Raymond Gonzalez and Dawn Aerospace co-founder James Powell. But first, let us take a moment and catch everyone up on some very important milestones. In 2011, Adams County began its pursuit of a spaceport site operator's license through the FAA's Office of Commercial Space. That process was rewarded in August of 2018 when the county was granted the license. At that time, the former Front Range Airport, located just 35 minutes from downtown Denver, was renamed Colorado Air and Spaceport. With such a robust aerospace industry in Colorado, there was immediate interest from potential partners domestically and across the globe. As many of you know, we have established a relationship with PD Aerospace from Japan and Reaction Engines, a company that has already conducted breakthrough testing of their thermal management system on site at Colorado Air and Spaceport. And this UK company still has a strong presence on our air and spaceport. This afternoon, we are excited to announce that we are adding another incredibly innovative company with Dawn Aerospace, prepared to sign a memorandum of understanding which will outline Dawn's intentions at Colorado Air and Spaceport. The MOU will define mutual roles and milestones to implement in the partnership and collaboration. It will also begin coordination with the US FAA in order to begin testing and all of the other associated elements of Dawn Aerospace's business model. We're going to incorporate various conditions and environments of the spaceport into the vehicle designs for Dawn. And importantly here, we're going to continue building a very strong relationship with Colorado Air and Spaceport as they continue testing and advancing their ambitious plans, does Dawn, in New Zealand. We're going to hear more about those plans in greater detail from James Powell in a few moments as he presents an update on his company, their vehicle, and that product line, along with any test schedules. You're also going to hear an update on Colorado Air and Spaceport from our director, Dave Ruppel. First, though, we're going to get to the business end of the signing celebration. County Manager Raymond Gonzalez and co-founder of Dawn Aerospace, James Powell, will exchange copies. We've done that weeks ahead of time. So Ray has one awaiting his signature that already has James' signature on it. And the same is true for James, who is joining us from Christchurch, New Zealand. So gentlemen, please go ahead and sign that memorandum of understanding that will advance the relationship between Colorado Air and Spaceport and Dawn Aerospace. And the virtual backgrounds are not great for this. So Ray, good try there. James, good try there. I think we can make it out. Yes, guys, we saw them both. Thank you both for going through the formality. And congratulations, most importantly, to both of you. I want to turn it over now for thoughts just on this signing agreement. We're going to begin with County Manager Raymond Gonzalez. Ray?
Thanks, Jim. Today's signing of the MOU marks an important step forward in our relationship with Dawn Aerospace. It truly has been a collaborative effort, and we've enjoyed getting to know this innovative company, their products, and their people. It's not only a partnership between Colorado Air and Spaceport and Dawn Aerospace. We have the full support of the Colorado Space Coalition and the Governor's Office of Economic Development and International Trade. We look forward to furthering our place in the aerospace industry, partnering with extraordinary companies like Dawn Aerospace. Their type of technology, launching horizontally, usually using a typical airport runway, will open up many options and opportunities at Colorado Air and Spaceport. We are completely on board with this partnership, and we are excited to see what the future holds.
Thanks a lot, Ray. James, I know you'll have a full presentation to share in just a few moments, but I'd like to get your immediate reaction to the MOU signing. What does this mean for Dawn Aerospace?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I want to extend some initial thanks to all of the commissioners and partners in Adams County that have helped to bring this together. We really appreciate your work, and we're really excited about this as we move forward. So, this represents a really important step for our company in expanding our capability globally and leveraging the flight heritage and the developments that we've been working on in New Zealand. We really view it as a paradigm shift in the spaceflight industry, and we think that this will enable vastly more capability in spaceflight, and so bringing this to a global market is really important for us, and we think that it's a pretty important strategic difference in Dawn that we are able to expand this and bring this to a global audience. And we think that the strategic benefits of this is also something that, to Raymond's point, really brings a lot of new opportunity to Colorado. And there's an amazing aerospace industry in Colorado already, and we really think that this is something that will enable that to just grow and thrive even more when better access to space, more frequent access, lower cost access. These are all the critical pieces of expanding an industry, and really excited to work on that together.
Thank you, James. That will be music to the ears of many in the aerospace community here in Colorado who are likely joining us today, and looking forward to your presentation in just a few moments. For those of you folks who are joining us today, a member of the media or the aerospace community, we're going to take some questions for our presenters. Both Dave and James will answer questions following their presentations. If you have some questions that you have now or that come up during their presentation, if you'd like to direct it towards James or Dave, just indicate that as you put the question into the chat feature or the Q&A function, and we'll pose those questions to both of those gentlemen after their presentations. At this time, I'd like to invite our Board of County Commissioners to offer their reaction to this exciting day in the aerospace industry, both in Colorado and New Zealand. So Commissioner Eva Henry, our chair, will begin with you.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. I want to begin by welcoming James and the entire Dawn Aerospace team to Adams County and Colorado Air and Spaceport. We know travel restrictions are slowly being lifted, and we look forward to hosting you for a barbecue and a tour of our beautiful state very soon. Today's signing of the MOU is another significant step forward in the process of Colorado Air and Spaceport becoming an industry leader for aerospace partners like Dawn Aerospace, Reaction Engines, and PD Aerospace, and other innovative aspirational companies in the years ahead. When companies like Dawn Aerospace joins us, they're not only getting the Colorado Air and Spaceport facilities, staff, and partnership, they're getting all of Colorado and everything it has to offer, from our beautiful mountains and open space to our thriving aerospace industry. There is no question you will feel right at home here. We're excited to have you and to continue Colorado's ongoing commitment to high-tech employment and state-of-the-art research facilities. Today's announcement keeps the momentum moving in the right direction, and I am just so excited. James, cannot wait. The barbecue will be in my backyard, just saying. So by all means, we're looking forward to having you here.
Perfect. And back when we were quite a bit younger, my wife was actually a ski instructor at Vail, so she's very happy that I'm on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we know we want to be there already.
Well, that's great news. Tell her we had a great ski season this past winter. We look forward to the future as well. We're going to get Commissioner Chaz Tedesco's comments. Commissioner, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Jim Zidlecki. I appreciate the introduction. My name is Chaz Tedesco. I am currently the vice chair of the board, and I'd like to personally welcome Dawn Aerospace as our newest partner at Colorado Air and Spaceport. In Adams County and in Colorado, we love that you've picked us, you've decided on us. We are family and we are here for you. In addition to my seat on the Board of County Commissioners, I also serve as the local government representative on the Colorado Aeronautical Board. And seeing today's announcement through that lens, and to see our spaceport expand operations in both the aviation and aerospace industries, is something we've looked forward to for a long time. Dawn, you are innovative and bold, and you've shaken up how things are done in the industry. We look forward to seeing what your research brings and what your next steps for the Aurora space plane and your propulsion systems brings. I mean, this is incredible. We are definitely appreciative, and I just can't wait to see what you guys do when you come here.
Thank you, Commissioner Tedesco. Commissioner Pinter is up next. Commissioner, we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jim. Creating relationships with good people and organizations is really key to any successful venture. Today, we are partnering virtually and physically with an organization that has all the right people in place. You all are brave, creative, and not afraid of forging ahead in the aerospace industry. These are a class of partnerships that are actively pursuing Adams County and Colorado Air and Spaceport. You're joining others that we have mentioned today and others that we hope to welcome in the future committed to this bold innovation as well. There's no question that this is an exciting next step for us, but we're not stopping here. We're on a mission to keep momentum going as we pursue partnerships and with innovative aerospace companies here in Colorado and around the world.
Commissioner Pinter, thank you so much. Commissioner Steve O'Dorisio is up next. Commissioner?
Thank you very much, Jim. One of the most exciting things for me about Dawn Aerospace is their focus on a vehicle that can take off and land in a standard airport runway. What's interesting about this is that we have 2 of those runways. And so the possibilities and the potential of this type of aircraft, space plane, I should say, are endless. Our support for Dawn Aerospace will extend beyond just their physical location. It is our intention to work with Dawn Aerospace to secure the FAA approval needed for their Aurora space plane. And hopefully, sometime in the near future, that same plane will be able to take off and land multiple times a day from the Colorado Air and Spaceport. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're going to hear quite a bit more from James in just a few moments as he outlines some of the things behind that Aurora space plane and some of the schedules that they have. First, though, let's get comments from Commissioner Lynn Baca. Commissioner? Commissioner, I'm having trouble hearing you, so we might have you muted. Okay,
muted.
There
Thank
you go.
You, Jim. Thank you, James, and welcome to Adams County. I'm newly elected to the Adams County Board of Commissioners, and what is most impressive to me is the technical expertise, passion, and professionalism Dawn Aerospace brings to the table. This is a company with multiple revenue streams, expertise, and support. You can now add us to your list of partners to further the research and expansion of your company in the aerospace industry. We know Dawn could have chosen to partner with many other spaceports to establish their presence in the United States. We're excited you have selected Colorado Air and Spaceport, and we can't wait to watch this partnership take off. Welcome again to Adams County.
Thank you, Commissioner Baca, and thanks to all the commissioners. We want to turn things over now, as promised, to our Air and Spaceport Director, Dave Ruckel, who has an update on development and a lot of the activity going on currently at the Air and Spaceport. Dave?
Well, thanks, Jim, and welcome, James. I'm going to share my screen here real quickly. And okay, hopefully everybody can see that now.
Yes.
So as Jim mentioned previously, the Colorado Air and Spaceport was the 11th of what are now 12 FAA licensed commercial spaceports in the United States. Of that 12, there are 8 that are horizontal launch type facilities. And of that 8, there are 6 that are dual use facilities like the Colorado Air and Spaceport, where we have an active airport and a spaceport operating from the same runways. And those 2 things are very compatible. In the U.S., you can see from this map that there are a lot of other spaceports out there, 12 additional government and DoD type sites, 4 other private sites, and another 12 places that are in various stages of the licensing process out there. But I think Colorado has a unique place in all of that, partly because as the #2 aerospace economy in the country, we have a tremendous part of the industry here. There's lots of aerospace type jobs. We've got 9 of the prime aerospace companies that have major operations here in the state of Colorado. And then I think on top of that, we've got a lot of state support here, as Jim mentioned, all the way from the governor's office through the federal delegations, the state delegations, the economic development organizations and local municipalities, not just supporting the aerospace industry, but also a lot of support for the Colorado Air and Spaceport. And then I think the other piece that's really become apparent is the number of international companies that are seeing Colorado as the place that they want to locate their U.S. affiliates as they look at developing that part of their international business, including companies like Astroscale and iSpace. We also look at space tourism and point-to-point travel as types of capabilities that we can do from the air and spaceport. Microgravity experiments, the ability to do experiments like that, bring them back to the launch point, and then be able to potentially launch multiple times to make changes to those experiments. Having that capability. Astronaut training, not only the ground training, which we have organizations here in the state that are working on developing that part of the training for commercial astronauts, but also the aviation side of it with high performance aircraft, being able to do that from here at the Air and Spaceport. Supporting small satellite industry, which is the largest part of the commercial space industry, as well as various types of research experiments, advanced manufacturing, and then crossover technologies like UAVs and robotic systems. We're also working with companies for hardware testing, rocket engine testing specifically, and control system testing on various types of capabilities. Looking at the ability to advance or to extend our license into other areas, including reentry type licensing for systems like the Dream Chaser to be able to return from orbit and land here in the state of Colorado. And then not necessarily space focused, but hypersonic technologies. That's becoming a big part of both aviation and aerospace, looking at both supersonic and hypersonic capabilities. And beyond that, then capabilities with data and fusion centers that, while they're not directly aerospace or aviation, they support both of those efforts going forward. And then finally, workforce development, where we look at not only the college and universities that we have a number of great organizations or great places here in the state, but also looking at vocational capabilities with electronics and metallurgy and things like that, where you need technicians to be able to both build and fix those capabilities. This is a bird's eye view of the facility out here. You can see Denver off to the west of us, Denver International Airport just to the northwest. And you can see that there's a lot of space around the facility here. We have about a 7,000 acre business park development, heavy rail served business park development to the south of us. And then another one just about 700 acres just to the east of us, both of which have the potential to be through the fence operations and support companies that want to have a variety of potential sites for their businesses. What we have here at the facility right now, of course, the FAA licensed horizontal launch site capability. We have 2 runways, both of them 8,000 feet. We have hangars and tower and approach capabilities that support both aviation and the aerospace capabilities going forward. And then looking around us, again, the business parks and the additional space for future development going forward. One of the things that's very important for us as we look at this development is the planning efforts. We need to look at both the airport planning and the spaceport planning. We've completed an airport master plan, and now we're about just a little over halfway through completing a spaceport master plan so that we can look at the infrastructure developments that are needed both for the space uses and the aviation uses, and make sure that we dovetail those together very carefully. In addition to that, we look at the area around the Air and Spaceport, and Adams County is completing a sub-area plan at this time, about almost, well, a little over 3/4 of the way completed with that planning effort, that will make sure that we have compatible types of businesses and operations both around the facility and on the facility. So the reason we're here today, this ecosystem that we're developing at the Air and Spaceport, specifically for aerospace type companies like Don Aerospace, we're very excited to welcome Don Aerospace here. You'll learn a lot more about the capabilities that they're going to bring to the area here, but that's a very high level list that you can see there. But we look forward to the opportunity to expand those commercial activities both in the United States and specifically here at CASP. Some of the other companies, Jim also mentioned PD Aerospace. They continue to develop their space plane. We signed an MOU with them back in December of last year. They continue to develop their hybrid rocket engine and their proprietary space plane. We look forward to seeing them operating here in the United States, probably starting either in 2023 or 2024. Reaction Engines, our first aerospace company out here with parent company in the United Kingdom, developing also a hybrid rocket engine and a hybrid or a proprietary space plane. They worked specifically on their heat exchanger technology here at a one-of-a-kind high temperature test facility that's located on the east side of the Air and Spaceport. We're very excited to see them continue to develop those capabilities and to look at other opportunities for the use of their technology. And then not specifically a space company, but New Frontier Aerospace is a company that we've developed a relationship as well with to develop a hypersonic space or hypersonic aircraft that is capable of carrying high importance packages very quickly all around the planet, but within the atmosphere. They are specifically working on rocket engine testing and controllability testing for their vehicle and their test capabilities there. So we're very excited to have them on board as well. And that's all I've got for right now.
That's a lot. Thank you very much, Dave. We certainly do appreciate it. Certainly an exciting time, no question, at the Air and Spaceport. Now, our future tenant at the Air and Spaceport, Don Aerospace, and James has a few slides to share. We saw you pictured in one of them, I think, there, James. We're looking forward to hearing much more about your company, so we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. All right, we'll bring this up. Now, just make sure you can all see that. Yeah, great. Okay, so yeah, thanks again for having me. Great to be here and really feel very welcomed. So thanks a lot. So Dawn is a space transportation company, and the way that we approach space transportation, we think is very substantially different to the more traditional methods that we'll all be pretty familiar with. And we really believe that this is these differences are pretty critical. Because what we want to enable is spaceflight, which is truly scalable and truly sustainable. You know, this is about creating a paradigm shift in this industry. It's not about doing the same thing, but a bit better. So when we started Dawn, you know, we really, we built rockets, we built aircraft, and we sort of really realized aircraft had this amazing ability to scale your service and deploy your service. And you get so much operational efficiency from them and so much capability from them. And rockets and more traditional space technologies are kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, where, you know, you use them once, you know, now some people use them a handful of times, and that's unquestionably a lot better. But we still were like, man, we've really got to change this, that space flight is like commercial flight is now. You know, it's accessible, it's available, it's very cost effective. So that was really that was the goal that we're working towards, and that's the goal that we're still working towards now. But as we were thinking through this, we sort of realized space transportation, it's important to get to orbit, but actually you have to be able to move around in orbit as well. That's just as important for the value chain, and that's just as important for really leveraging and achieving the utility that you can from space. And this dovetailed in really nicely with a lot of proprietary technology that we'd already been working on. So that led us to being able to produce these satellite propulsion systems that we manufacture now. And these are actually, this is a fully mature product. You know, these are in orbit now. You can go online and buy them if you want to. It's yeah, it's that easy. But this was a critical piece for us in terms of creating a very commercially robust business from day one as well. You know, the company's only a few years old, but we generate revenue, we sell product. We've gone through the whole process of designing, building, qualifying, and flying hardware in space. So it's really allowed us to mature very rapidly as a company, both in the technical domain and the commercial domain. And this really empowers us as we move into the launch capabilities and make sure that we've got all of the business systems in place to do this in a robust manner. So from the satellite propulsion, the next stage is the suborbital system, which, so that's the Mark II Aurora that we've been talking about a little on this call. So it's a space plane. You can really think of it very much like a conventional aircraft. The pilot just stays on the ground, and it has a rocket engine so that it can keep going beyond the atmosphere, but still takes off from a runway, still lands on a runway. When you want to fly again, you refuel it, and then you fly again. You don't have to overhaul the engine or replace a whole bunch of parts or do a ton of inspections or anything. It's very much fly, land, refuel, ready to fly again. So this is a suborbital system, so it flies to sort of nominally 100-kilometer altitude. It's a very similar flight profile actually to what lots of rockets fly their first stage. So this gives you access to space. It puts you in the space environment. You know, there's zero gravity, there's negligible atmosphere. You know, you really are in the vacuum of space. You're just there only for temporarily, and then come back down and land. But this is hugely empowering for a very wide range of industries. You know, it lets you test hardware in a space environment. It lets you conduct experimentation in a space environment very rapidly. It lets you develop products or other capabilities that you need microgravity for, or you need that space environment for. And it also really helps us do a lot of things like weather prediction and understanding our atmosphere and climate change and all these kinds of things. So it's very empowering across a wide range of industries. And these are the industries that we know we would help promote and develop and expand further within the Colorado ecosystem. And then this leads us on to the long-term goal, which is highly reusable orbital spaceflight system. So again, you know, this really is flying like an aircraft. It's takeoff, first stage, you know, again, flies that suborbital profile. Your second stage boosts to orbit, but then 96% of the system comes back and land, ready to be refueled, ready for your new second stage and your new payload, and then off it goes again. So this is this is really designed from the ground up to be a system where flying to space multiple times per day is totally plausible, and actually flying many times per day is not unreasonable. And so what this means is we have a system which, you know, it's already capable of vastly more spaceflight than we do today. But actually, if we wanted to expand from there, you know, 10x, 20x, 50x, that would be totally within the realm of possibility without having to change architecture, without having to build a ton more infrastructure. It's really set up to expand very, very well. So just digging into the details of this technology a little bit. So the propulsion system, so it's a proprietary bipropellant chemical propulsion system. The fuels that we use are very commonly available. They're very safe. And these are key aspects to, again, making sure from the ground up that this is a very scalable technology. And as I mentioned, these are in flight now. You know, these are in orbit right now, and they're on the production line right now. So the Mark II Aurora, so as I mentioned, you really can think of this like an aircraft. And you sort of see a bit of a sort of subway map style diagram of the how simple sort of flying this is, that we take off from runway, fly to a sort of 100-kilometer suborbital profile, and then land back on the runway again, ready to be refueled, load a new payload, new experiment, new weather sensing equipment, whatever it may be, off we go and fly again. And then the Mark III, the orbital system, Yeah, you'll notice it's very much the same. Just when we get to the near that apogee, then the second stage boosts off to orbit, and then first stage returns, ready to get that next payload, the next satellite, whatever it may be, and off to space we go again. So just giving you a bit of an idea of scale of things. So the Mark II Aurora is about 5 meters long, or 15 feet roughly. So, you know, broadly the size of a car. Then the Mark III, the orbital system, the first stage for that is more like a small business jet sort of thing. So that 8,000 foot runway you've got is perfect for us, and that's plenty for what we need. So yeah, works very well. So one of the main things that I really wanted to emphasize with this is this is real. This is really happening. You know, we've probably done 400 flights already on our subscale systems that we're developing in New Zealand, and this partnership is a really important part of being able to expand our capability internationally, and leverage the work that we've done in New Zealand, leverage the work we've done with the New Zealand Civil Aviation Authority to get our licenses to fly here. And complement our capability and the service that we provide here. You know, thinking about this like an airline, you know, airlines fly all over the world. You know, American Airlines in New Zealand, take your pick. You know, they have operational bases in multiple locations, and that allows them to provide the best service that their customers need. That's a really critical part of that. You know, no one would fly on American Airlines if they only flew out of Auckland or you know, Denver or whatever it may be. So building this partnership and allowing us to collaborate internationally is the key thing that we're working towards here. And yeah, as I mentioned, you know, the propulsion systems, they're a mature product. They're something that we've gone through all the hard yards to build and get to space. So we know what we need to do to build things and fly them in space and know that they'll work. So that was a pretty quick overview. Really just wanted to give a brief intro and keep it nice and short, but certainly welcome any questions when time comes. Thanks again for having us.
James, thank you so much. How exciting it is for all of us to see some of those diagrams and hear about the pieces that are already in place for your company and already generating revenue for you and your satisfied customers around the world. We know we have some members of the media on, both from Christchurch, New Zealand, and of course here domestically. So if you would like, you can tee up your questions now. We'll put those into the chat, and that way we can have our panelists answer any questions that you might have. The first one is a reporter from Colorado Community Media. James, she's asking if you have an illustration of the space vehicle you plan. I think we just showed that. Her question is, will this space plane fly from CASP outside the Earth atmosphere and sit in zero gravity as the Earth rotates? It could land in Paris or New Zealand. Is that something that's possible?
So the Mark II system, so it's a suborbital vehicle, so it does fly beyond the atmosphere, so above 100-kilometer altitude. So it does experience microgravity there as well, or you know, what colloquially gets called zero gravity, but only for a short period of time. You know, sort of 5 to 10 minutes, depending on your flight profile. So the Earth hasn't really rotated too far, and an important part of your flight planning is to make sure that you account for that bit of rotation, so that we do indeed come down back at CASP and you know, not in the next field over or whatever it may be.
I think what she might have been getting at in this question, and it might be one that's shared by the audience watching here, James, is do you plan on a point-to-point commercial travel thing in the future, or is that something that you're going to leave to others?
So we don't have immediate plans to fly people, is I suppose the short answer, but this is certainly an architecture which is well set up for high-speed point-to-point transport.
Great, good answer. Stephen Walton has asked a question. When do you think Dawn Aerospace will begin their presence in Colorado and actually launching from our Air and Spaceport?
So, I mean, for us, this is really about starting a relationship and starting our work with everybody in Colorado. And so, you know, it's probably a little early to give exact details on that, and I don't want to, you know, let anybody down saying, you know, we're going to do this and it doesn't quite work out that way. You know, right now we want to make sure we've got all the right people in the room so that we can work on everything that we need to do, and we can make sure that we're all aligned and we're all working together on things properly. Working with FAA and so on is also a very important part of this, and getting licenses is not an overnight process. So, unfortunately, this isn't going to be a next week or next month type thing. But again, this is a very important first step for us, and we're really excited to build this forward, and certainly as quick as we can.
James, by extension, Stephen has a follow-up question. Curious about how much of the Dawn Aerospace company will be based in Colorado. I'm sure that's probably preliminary, but what's your best estimate at this point?
Yeah, exactly. Like, unfortunately, a little bit of a similar answer that it's a little bit hard to be exact when we haven't worked out all the details with everybody in the room yet. But essentially, the best way to think about this is similar to how an airline operates at different sites, where you have your operational staff, so your pilots, your navigators, and your support crew and everything, and then also often you'll have a maintenance facility and so on with that as well. Aircraft need lots of work to make sure they're running well. So yeah, it's those sorts of things that we have in Colorado.
Great. We have another question coming in from Jeff Faust. He wants you to elaborate on the specific terms of the MOU. On that piece, Jeff, we'll have a copy of that available to you with our communications team as they send out a news release, rather than boring folks with every particular. Is Adams County providing incentives to Dawn Aerospace, or is Dawn Aerospace committed to investing in the county? I'll let you take that piece first, James, and then I'll have Ray Gonzalez from our end talk about the other one.
Yeah, so it's sort of a similar situation that, this really is the start of the conversation. And for us, it's really important that we get all the right people in the room from day one, because we want to make sure that everybody is involved, everybody makes the contributions that they need to, and no one's caught by surprise and so on. So we really haven't got into those levels of detail yet.
Okay. A lot of folks wanted to fast forward, and I can understand their excitement. There's no question about that. Ray or Dave, to the question about incentives, I don't believe that conversation has surfaced. I'll let you take it.
You're correct, Jim. That conversation has not happened yet. As James had mentioned, this is the beginning of a new relationship, and we look forward to those continued conversations. And I am sure it will come up at some point, but we have not had that conversation yet.
I think James is nodding along with you. We have another question here, James. Now, I'm guessing this is outside of the fact that your wife was a ski instructor at Vail. The question is, what attracted Dawn Aerospace to Colorado, and what benefits does that have over maybe somewhere else in New Zealand?
So, Colorado has an existing aerospace industry that, Dawn is actually very familiar with, and, lots of those logos that came up on one of the earlier slides is like, oh yeah, I talked to him last week, and oh yeah, remember talking to her a year ago and so on. So, there's an existing industry that we know this is a capability that will be very useful for. So it's we think it's a good partnership, and it's a good new capability to bring to them. It's a proactive and supportive group of people that are on this call, and people are what make difficult things happen. Take your pick of anyone who's done something exceptional. Right back to the Apollo program and everything before that. Right back to Kennedy. It is the people that make the amazing things happen, and everyone at Colorado and Adams County has been super helpful in putting this together. So that's a huge part of it. The infrastructure that's there is obviously an important part of it as well. These are really key pieces for us.
It's a great answer. Thank you so much for the kind words. We've enjoyed every minute of it, and we look forward to a continued partnership, no question, with a little bit more involvement as things get a little bit more heavy, and working with the licensing piece and so many other. James, thank you for that. Dave, anything you'd like to add to that Colorado piece that James was bringing up?
Sure, you bet. I think one of the things that we've found is that one of the kind of the difficult aspects for international companies that might come to the United States is that how do you make those contacts within the State Department? How do you make those contacts within the FAA and locally so that you can move your business or a portion of your business into the United States? It's not as easy as just showing up. So one of the things that we've tried to develop is a format to be able to do that and the relationships to be able to make that happen. So our intent and our hope is to be able to bring that to bear with Don as well as they get ready to do those things here in the United States.
Great, great. Well, I have one more question for you. This one is from Stephen Walton, who's joining us from New Zealand. His question is, further to my previous question, does New Zealand not have the infrastructure? James, that's the question. Or is this a matter of, yeah, there's some here, but we want to be global?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't an either-or type situation for us. This is a part of our plan to bring this capability to a global market. So this isn't, we're not packing up and leaving home, as it were. We'll certainly be we'll certainly be continuing to operate in New Zealand. New Zealand has a very unique regulatory system in the world, and the Civil Aviation Authority have a very good relationship with the Federal Aviation Authority in the States. And that's an important part of how we bring this global. And it's really important that we leverage our flight heritage, our capability, our licenses in New Zealand to expedite that process in the States. And again, this is a well-established relationship between FAA and CAA, and a lot of my prior work before Dawn was leveraging these relationships to, give the best capabilities to everywhere on the globe. So yeah, it's absolutely not an either-or. This is a way of providing complementary service to a global market.
All right. We appreciate that answer, and we appreciate our members of the media from around the world offering up those questions for our panelists today. I do not see any further questions at this time. Raymond Gonzalez, do you have any final remarks for us?
I just want to thank Don Aerospace and your entire team for really looking at Colorado as your next destination. And we are anxious to continue the dialogue with you and to further this this new relationship. And welcome to Colorado Air and Spaceport and more, and welcome to Adams County, Colorado.
Dave, any final remarks from you?
Just like to reiterate what Ray just said there too. We're excited to have you on board. We're excited to help out in any way that we can. And we're looking forward to seeing this relationship grow and your presence here grow as well.
And James, any final remarks from you before we close out and you can get to lunch?
No, that really, I think we've covered all the main things. Again, it's been amazing to work with all of you. Really appreciate everybody from Adams County and all their efforts, and certainly really looking forward to continuing these discussions and building this further.
Yes, hopefully next time it's on a chairlift.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
We want to thank James Powell, the co-founder of Dawn Aerospace, our Board of County Commissioners, our County Manager, Raymond Gonzalez, and all of you who have joined us from around the world for today's announcement. The Memorandum of Understanding has been signed between Colorado Air and Spaceport and Dawn Aerospace. We will certainly keep you updated as this relationship progresses. We hope you have a great afternoon here in Colorado and a nice lunch to everybody down joining us in New Zealand. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.